morning, everybody. So we're gonna be trying to live stream these through YouTube. But anyway, for those that don't know me, Dakota told me back up, Dakota watch me do. They watching our pictures up here. Good morning, good morning. So for those that don't know me, I just introduced myself in Dakota. My Dakota name is Good Voice Bird. My Washichu name is Tracy Bars. I'm 35 years old, and I'm a mentor, I'm an advocate, I am a community helper. I work with the youth a lot, and I do a lot in the community. Started my own business, did all these things, but I have been in the prison system of South Dakota. I was actually, anyway, first off, let me finish real quick here. Sorry, jumping right into it, just still waking up. But anyway, so I've been advocating for inmates of South Dakota. I haven't been picking and choosing which race, gangs, or anything like that. I've just been kind of helping everybody out, mentoring and advocating and showing up and protesting and things like that. So the reason why I started doing that was because, when I got out of prison and came home, I tried to start over. I tried to re-enter back into society, and it's extremely tough for guys like me. So for those that don't know, I used to be a real bad drug addict. I used to be a real bad gang member. I've done a lot of things in my life where some wouldn't make it, some wouldn't carry on, you know what I mean? Some would just stay there forever. And that's what I was planning on doing, by the way. So I'm 35 years old, like I said. To be honest with you, I wasn't expecting to get to 30. I thought I was going to be dead by the age of 30. So I grew up in Flandreau, South Dakota. I was born and raised in this town, and I come from the Flandreau Santee Sioux Reservation. That's where I'm enrolled. So I grew up real resi. I grew up around, mom drinking all the time, dad was gone. Grew up around rugged uncles and stuff like that, and I started learning how to sell drugs at the age of 16. So that's kind of where my life started. I was introduced to the Dakota way of life from the moment I was born, and I've always had an interest in drums, powwows, and singing for sweats and things like that. I've been a singer since I was a little boy. My family's Dakota, so I started off in my life kind of like powwows, sweats, ceremonies, you know what I mean, doing all those things. I remember doing them since I was a little kid. I started to lose my way when I didn't have that mentorship, you know what I mean? I didn't have a dad. And I didn't have good mentors around me like uncles or anything. So, my uncles were a lot of partiers and a lot of roughhousers. I'm a Bars, so from South Dakota, my name is pretty well known and consistent. Not my name, but my family name. And it seems like every res you go to, there's a name that you know what I mean? Every res you go to, there's these names and these fighters and these singers and powwows and like families that are well known for a lot of these things. Well, my Bars side from Siston is well known for being wild. We're being wild, and we're into a lot of music. For those that don't know me, by the way, I'm the son to Marcy Wakeman and Lydell Bars, but I was raised by many people, and I think that's the res life right there too. We get raised by a lot of different people. Some do a good job, some don't. You know what I mean? Some put us through abuse and some don't. Some save us. So I grew up in that kind of aspect. So any atrocity that any of you have been through, I've probably been through it too. From abuse and things like that, and no mentorship, no good positive role models and stuff like that. In male perspectives, I had positive women around me. That was about it. I was raised by an amazing grandmother. My mother was in and out of prison. My mother's been to federal prison and state prison, and my dad, he's been to federal prison as well too. So, it's kind of like a toxic cycle that we all go through. We grow up in the res, we get, whether it's addiction or a cycle, there's all these cycles, and we all fall into them. whether it's a systemic cycle, or not even just that, kind of more like addiction and things like that. So I used to know that. My grandma used to raise me and kind of teach me, hey, be careful, there's all these cycles, and I don't want you to be like that. I don't want you to be an alcoholic, and I don't want you to, things like that. So, I was raised in a good way when it came to grandma, and I just didn't have the mentorship of men to do it, to continue forward. The mentorship that I had from men were kind of more along the lines of gangs and drugs and stuff like that. So, but anyway, I was taught all these things by my grandmother, so I already had what I had from being Dakota, from being born with all this song in me, and things like that. So when I lost my way and I found it back, that was the first thing that I tapped into, was my Dakota way of life, and I really got pushed through mentorship and things like that. So before I found my way back, I lost my way. I hit rock bottom real hard. I was addicted to pain meds. I was addicted to, that started happening, by the way, when I was about 17, and I was diagnosed with cancer, so I started to receive pain meds from the doctors. And the older I was getting, the more I was trying to adapt to a gangster way of life. You know what I mean? So that's why I say there was no positive mentorship through males. I lost my way when it came to singing and sweat lodge and powwows and things like that. I started to find out that it was kind of hard, and it was hard work to live that way. So I wanted to live easy way. I didn't want to work for money. I wanted to make it. I was lazy. Didn't want to go to school. Didn't want to do none of that stuff. I wanted to party and hang out all the time. Listening to all this rap music and trying to be black and things like that. That was me right there. So the older I started to get, the more I started to get into it. Well, then I was hit with cancer, and when I was hit with cancer, I received all these pain medications. So for those that don't know, I'm also a cancer survivor. I've been in remission for probably coming up on 2 years now. So that kind of surprises people a lot, because I don't seem like the guy or whatever, but I carry a lot of scars. I did 9 regimens of chemotherapy. I had 6 major surgeries. Went to Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. Did three regimens of radiation. So I've been through it, and those pain meds, that's what got me, those Percocets. So I started to do these perks, and I started to really get addicted to them. But I noticed the more I tapped into that drug use and that alcoholism, because when I had cancer, I started to rebel. I kind of blamed God about it, and I blamed Creator, you know what I mean? So I wanted to numb this feeling that I was any less of a man than the next one. So, and I wanted to numb this feeling of being lazy and not looking, you know what I mean? We all have this intuition of victimizing. Like, we don't feel handsome, we don't feel pretty, we don't feel, growing up in that res life, we don't feel like we don't feel strong, and we don't feel smart, we don't feel big. We it's the complete opposite. So if you ever notice, you'll see on the res, you'll see really handsome people or beautiful people. In my opinion, they're all beautiful, they're all handsome. I love the res, I really do. I had to find my way to find that love, though. That's the thing about it. So anyway, you'll see us not, from the looks, it's different internally. So what I learned about our people, my own people, or Cheti Shakoi people, is we really know how to mask. We really know how to mask and cover what's really going on. We know how to silence ourselves. We know how to victimize ourselves. We know how to weaken ourselves. We know how to do that. It's almost like our greatest enemy is ourselves when it comes to us. And when we overcome that, when we adapt and overcome it, and you know what I mean, when we find ourselves, when we have all this faith in ourselves, you'll see our people go far. You'll see our people become amazing artists or college professors or you know what I mean, all kinds of amazing things. You'll see that we have amazing talents, whether it's from powwows or singing, craft making, or learning new things and passing them along to people. I don't know. That's just my opinion anyway. But it's that surviving and overcoming that really gets us, in my opinion. And some of us survive and overcome through bad mentorship. You know, some of us want to be gangs, some of us want to be black. Like I said, that was what happened to me. So I wanted to do all these things, and the more I was getting into this cancer stuff and drug shit, that was the more I started to lose my way further. And I did. I lost my way. And I became homeless, drug addict, all that shit. I moved to Minneapolis and joined the gangs in the streets. And, you know, I seen a lot of death, and I seen a lot of violence. I was a part of a lot of violence too. And, you know, when I had to find my way back from that, I went to prison. That's what happened to me. I went to prison. So when I went to prison, I came home to South Dakota, and I was on the run from South Dakota. That's where I was living in Minnesota. So I was on the run for about 7 or 8 years there. And when I came back home, I turned myself in and went to prison. And I went to prison at the end of 2015. And I was in there till 2021, August of 2021. And, or actually, no, it was the beginning of 2016, kind of like February, I think, end of January. And I served time all the way till August of 2021. So, you know, I did just shy over 5.5 years, 5 and some change. So, I did my time on the Sioux Falls, in Sioux Falls prison system on the Hill, Jameson, Mike Durfee, Yankton, and Unit C. So, I've been to all these different prison systems. And, you know, when I started to find my way back, I learned that the system and also society kind of holds us back, kind of hinders us, you know what I mean? So here's the thing. So when I entered the prison system, I was actually an active gang member, right? So I had to, when I went to prison, I was still in that mentality. I wasn't ready to change my life. I was ready to get away from all the violence and get off the streets and try to get my addiction taken care of, you know what I mean? So when I entered the prison system, that was a part of my basic general idea. But when I got in there, the gangs are so, the environment is so big, you know what I mean? So all that plan went out the fucking window, and I wanted to be a gang member. I wanted to join up and have that recognition back, you know what I mean? I wanted to have that recognition back. I wanted to have that authority or whatever. I don't know. It's a funny feeling, man. It's like a masculinity power feeling, kind of. You feel like you have all these brothers and all this loyalty and all this respect, and you know, I just had to give it up because I knew that, you know, I was gonna get out and come back in. It was a lifestyle that I couldn't get away from. So I knew there were certain steps that I had to take, and I knew it was going to be hard. But that's the initial decision to make right there. And you're about to do it on your own because there's no mentors, like I said. So we grew up with, you know, no one teaching us how to overcome these struggles and learn from them, and then try to give back to others. That's part of my personal values of, you know, I believe that's part of being Ocheti Shakoli, is passing along that motivation and encouragement through action right next to your brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? There's a lot of role models I look up to now. But when I was in that bondage of gang mentality, you know, that false image of wanting to be a drug dealer and a gang member and all that, I wasn't following that. I thrived in the worst places. I wasn't used to thriving in school. I didn't even really go to school. Wasn't used to thriving in work, but for some reason I could thrive on the street. I could thrive in prison. I could thrive in violence. I could thrive in, you know what I mean? So I was thriving in the worst places. I was thriving to the worst places of myself too. So, you know, when I wanted to change my life, I knew that was going to be the hard part, and it was. It still is to this day. It's still hard. Part of what I try to help mentor other brothers with, because so here's the thing, I work with parole agents around the area. try to help with addiction. I work with parole agents to where inmates that violate through drugs in South Dakota, I can get you to treatment rather than prison, because in my opinion, treatment is what you need. Prison, that's not gonna do anything for your addiction, and if it does, you are forcing yourself to do it. You know what I mean? You are the one that's forcing yourself to remain on that sobriety line at the beginning. You might find help and support and all that, but it's gonna come later. The initial part is on your own, and I don't care who says it's not. I don't care if someone's literally sitting right next to you. In your mind, inside your core, you are alone when you're overcoming all this. So it's, in my opinion, it's not just addiction. It's so much more than that. It's the laziness. It's the victimizing. It's the depression. It's the mentality that we have that we get instant gratification. You know what I mean? Things like that. We're takers. We take that shit. We don't want to give either. We want to just take. And to me, that's the lazy way. That's what a lot of us do. And when we're a part of that, when we're a part of gang mentality, what I saw was we were taking still. We were taking from each other. We were taking from other people. Even though we might say our goals and our mottos and all that were respected in all this, it wasn't. To be honest with you, we were justifying ourselves living this mentality and justifying the taking and justifying violence and justifying, you know what I mean? So, in my opinion, I wanted to quit being a gang member, and my initial thought was I want to be a Dakota man. I want to be an that means common man. But I didn't want to. So here's the thing: I'm not religious, by the way, everybody. I'm not religious. I'm not tradish. I'm spiritual. I'm spiritually connected. But I had to earn that, and I have to work hard to ensure that it still remains intact with me, because these are the things that I do in the community, whether it's helping with addiction, helping the youth, helping families that are needing to be heard, whether it's through MMIW or MMIP, or speaking for people that can't speak for themselves, you know what I mean? I had to find that spiritual connection and harness it. And I have to harness it every single day, so that's what I do. I don't get paid for no mentoring. I don't get paid for youth drum group. So I started a youth drum group when I got out of prison, and that's what really saved my life. But here's the thing about prison. So right now, there's a lot going on in the pen. There's a lot going on with guards. There's a lot going on with administration. There's a lot going on with money. There's a lot of setting you up for failure when it comes to recidivism. They want you to be unsuccessful. They want you to keep coming back. And that systemic cycle that we're stuck in it. That's my opinion. And when you break free from that, you become a weapon. You become a weapon, not for bad either. I'm talking about a good self-defensive weapon. You become a weapon for yourself, and you become a weapon for your oyate, for your people, for other warriors like yourself. You know what I mean? So that's why I say prison don't want you to become that. Prison is designed to destroy you. It's designed to, they might say they want to rehabilitate you. They might say that it might be a crest. It might be a fucking creed. We want to rehabilitate you. We want more successful streets and successful recidivisms and successful people, and it's not like that at all. It's really not. Because if it was, they would be putting forth all the effort and funding that they get for appropriating to, actually literally putting it forth what it's appropriated for towards our needs and towards giving us what we need to better ourselves. And that's why I've been doing these podcasts, because I'm going to speak out on all of it. So this first podcast, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a background of who I am and what I'm going to be speaking out against and why. So, when I left the prison system, I had to, first of all, I was only supposed to do 2.5 years. And when I got into prison, like I said, I wasn't ready yet. So I fell back into the gang mentality of prison. It was actually a lot worse, or not worse, but it was probably just the same amount of thriving as I did on the street. I did that in prison. So in prison, I'm going to tell you guys about the part of an inmate standpoint real quick here. In prison, there's drugs in prison there's gangs, in prison there's violence, in prison there's a lot of structure, there's a lot of respect, but it's sobriety, respect, sobriety, structure, you know what I mean? So in prison there's a really lot of solid good word and respect and things like that, and there is a unity, a brotherhood, you know what I mean? So I was used to a lot of that, but what I got further into was so I started to smuggle contraband in. I was smuggling in cell phones, I was smuggling in K2, meth, weed and heroin and all this other stuff. Yeah, believe it or not, yeah. I was smuggling all this shit in, and that's the first part right there is us men will literally, we're if we say we're changing, but we're still using and manipulating women to bring in stuff for us, you're not changing, you know what I mean? You're not doing that. If you're muscling guards to bring in contraband, or if you're even meeting dirty guards and they're joining your gangs too, which is what's going on, I'll be speaking out on all that shit, or helping you bring contraband in, which is going on, I'll be speaking on all that shit too. They're going to, you're gonna further dive deep down into that systemic cycle. You're not gonna overcome nothing. You're not gonna learn nothing. Nothing's gonna work out for you when you get out on the street. So when you really want to change your life, you have to change that, all of that right there. The hustling mentality, the drug mentality, the depressing mental mentalities, the abuse mentalities. You have to, the brotherhood, the no mentorship, the no dads, you have to overcome all of that. If you think there's groups or classes in prison that help you do that, there's fucking not. And I know they might say there is, and they might say they're trying to. No, they're not. And I've seen, when it comes to medical shit, man, medical, mental, emotional disabilities and things like that, you're fucked. You're fucked right when you get to prison. If you're suicidal, if you're an addict, that's why I said these things are in prison, because if you're in any of those aspects, you're going to die if you don't overcome it. If you don't overcome all of that, you're going to die. Whether it's from suicide, whether it's from drug use, from contraband, from either the guards helping you get it in and all this other shit, or whether it's from violence. There's a lot of stabbings going on in South Dakota prison system now. There's a lot of, get this by the way, everything I'm telling you guys, they know all this. They know all this. That's the thing about it. I'll be speaking on all that too. So anyway, when I did it, like I said, I had to step away from the gang life first, and then I had to step away from all that other stuff. But I was only supposed to do 2.5 years, and I was actually, with the help of guards and with the help of women on the street, I was bringing in contraband, and I was actually, still selling it. And as a result of me selling contraband, I had to get violent one day, and as a result of that, I earned 3 more years on a 2.5 sentence, so I ended up doing 5.5. So I assaulted someone over a bad drug deal in there, and then I went to, I got indicted for that in the state county system. So it was actually Yankton County. I got indicted there for assault, and I got indicted for possession of a controlled substance, and while in a secure facility or something like that. So I got that charge too. So that those 2 charges bumped me out to further more years in prison. So that's why I ended up doing more time. That's why when I had to step away from all of that, I had to step away from all of it. The hustler, the gang, the everything. So when I did, I started to receive mentorship from other inmates in prison. I started to receive mentorship through Muslims, through white, through black. You know what I mean? I received all this mentorship from other inmates, including my own natives. And that's another thing that they don't say about the gang life. They're not going to support you and do that either. They don't want to see you. My gang was actually, the gang I was involved in was actually, they might have seemed like it was cool, like yeah, you can step away, this and that. But then the rumors come, the gossip, you know what I mean? He's a rat, he's a bitch, he's all this. You guys got to remember, you got to step away from that too. How you respond and how you react and how you're hearing it. You got to find a way to not tolerate that. And I'm not saying physically fight for it. I'm just saying one ear and out the motherfucking other. Don't keep that shit. And it's gonna happen to you in re-entry. So after me serving all these years, I got out. After I got out, you know, while I was in there, I tapped back into my drum, the song, the sweat lodge, the pipe ceremony. I tapped back into all of that, right? And through mentorship, through other inmates and things like that, nothing, and I'm gonna say this again, absolutely fucking nothing that the prison says they have to offer to you for rehabilitation, reform, successful recidivism, and re-entry, none of that, even though they say it was offered, none of it. I got none of that. I literally had none of that. They might say, like I said, they might say they got it, but they don't. You don't fucking utilize it. So that's why I'm saying I started to, you know, I had to see that, okay, I'm gonna have to do this on my own. I have to do this on my own. And I'm thankful to Creator that I had other inmates as mentors that came and stepped in, lifers and things like that, guys like that. So, you know, I find it odd that they make these big fucking lists and they do these news specials and they do all this shit and they say we're trying to do all this and we're trying to do all that, and in my opinion they're cheating you guys out of your tax money, which is my tax money too, because now I got out and I work. So anyway, let me finish real quick with my first part here. So when I got out of prison, I came home and you know, I tapped into my drum making. So I started my own business. I started working with the youth. So I helped lead and mentor a youth drum group of over 40 singers, black, white, brown. They're all different races, they're all different genders, they're all different ages and backgrounds. You know, and I tried to stay busy. That was my goal. I was to stay busy. But I knew I was gonna be okay because I was dead set on it. You know what I mean? I was firmly planted in this new way of life that I wanted to live, and not going back to prison, becoming a better dad, you know, things like that. I received a spiritual connection at the beginning of it and a dream, and I woke up and just kept fucking going. So here I am, you know, 5 years later, still leading a youth mentor drum group, and they're getting bigger now. So I actually started to work with probation officers because some of our singers are angry, some of them are in trouble, some of them are on probation, some of them are even discovering addiction real early. So that's how I started to just mentor them. Now that's how I'm sitting here before you guys right now. If you notice, I'm telling you that it was the drum that got me here. The drum got me here. So the drum helped me introduce to a lot of kids that are going through these things that I went through. And all I'm doing is using that drum and showing up and mentoring them with it. That's it. That's all I'm doing. So it's not anything like a secret or a wicked discovery or something like that. It's our way that I tap back into. It's our ancient oldest way of life. So and it works for, you know, like I said, there's not just natives, there's not just native kids, there's kids that are like us. So I started to connect with them through that drum, and I started to help them learn, prevent them from going to gangs, to get that mentorship and that love, prevent them from being silenced if they're being abused, prevent them from emotional anxiety, mental anxiety, and mental depression and suicidal cutting and things like that, and also preventing them through addiction, through drug use, you know what I mean? So as a result of all that, I started to tap in with these kids, and I started to work with these probation officers for some of them. And as a result of that, 6 of them have made it off probation. 2 of them have graduated high school already. 2 of them are about to graduate early, and they're all athletes, they're all athletic, they all go to school, and I mentor them through the drum on how to be comfortable in their skin. You're brown, you're black, you're odd, you know what I mean? We're odd. I don't want you to feel that during school because you're not going to want to go back. I don't want you to feel that during basketball because you're not going to want to go back. Or sports, whatever. You're not going to want to stay into it if you're not feeling a part of it. This drum group you are a part of. And I'm teaching you that this drum and this song is a part of you, a part of your life every day. And through all of that, I'm sitting before you. I'm successfully off parole, and I own my own business. Like I said, I started a drum making business. I mentor kids. I help in the communities. I help check on homeless people. I help, come and show up and help with addiction. I do all this stuff for elders and women, and I do all this stuff, right? All of it. I do a lot. The kids do it with me. That's the thing. The kids do it with me. And as a result of that, it's working. Whatever it may be, it's working. So life, I guess, So anyway, it's hard to do though, and the state is not helping you do it. Even when I re-entered back into society, good thing I had that drum and those kids, because there's no re-entry class that's amazing in there, in the system or out here. There's no fucking amazing anything to help you, assist you. There's no amazing halfway houses. So anyway, as I started to learn all this about myself, I started to advocate. I started to advocate around against halfway house directors. I started to advocate against cops. I started to advocate against detectives. I started to advocate for all these people, addicts, teens, abuse, all this other stuff, right? But nobody helped me do that. It was that's the thing about all of this too, is you might not have a support circle. And I'm talking to you guys that go back to the res and have no one to get there when you get there. I'm talking to you guys that go back to the fucking res and don't have a support circle because you were homeless prior to that, or because you used to be an addict or alcoholic and the res judges you, or the town, or whoever. You still are isolated. I'm talking to you because you're the ones that are my people, in my opinion. I'm weird like you. I didn't have people that understand me. I didn't have a big support circle. I didn't have none of that shit. And it wasn't like the state goes above and beyond for all of us. They pick and choose. So you'll actually see the people that have good homes and good support circles and good lives and good skin, good hair, good whatever, whether it's white, even indigenous too. I've seen colored people that fit the profile of white people like that, right? I've seen all of it. In prison too, it happens. It's all about nepotism and oppression to me. But if you notice, they all have this support circle at home. They have a family, they have whatever, and they thrive in those groups. For some reason, guys like us that are acceptive of the bondage to gangs, we're gonna be this way, we're gonna die this way, you know what I mean? We are the crazy ones, we're the savages, we're the missiles that are ready to fire off and fucking self-destruct, you know what I mean? We don't get comfortable when we come home. We know we're gonna go back. We don't want to get close to our women because we know we're gonna be taken from them, going to jail or getting shot or getting killed or overdosing. We don't get close to our kids. We don't get back into the street. I'm talking to you guys right here, all of us, like that right there. That's who I am and that's how I was. So I tapped into doing all these things. So I'm telling you, you can do it too. And I want you to. And then I want you to learn all this stuff about yourself. And I want you to fucking achieve and accomplish that shit. Whether it's working out, working just a regular 9 to 5, whether it's just not even doing none of that and just being sober and not getting in trouble, whether it's stepping away successfully from gangs and shit, whatever it is, you are the ones that can truly help the world and truly help the prison understand some shit. You are the ones that truly can help brothers that re-enter back into society. Because you're still in society and you successfully re-entered it. You see what I mean now? So this is the part where I'm telling you guys this is what we're doing. And this is why I organize protests and demonstrations, and because I want that for all of us in prisons, in systems, women too, all of us. Now, in order to achieve that though, there's some things that we're gonna have to do, guys. And I want to encourage you to be strong when we do it. There's gonna be some hard work. There's gonna be some organizing and planning. There's gonna be some speaking. There's gonna be some dedicating your daily life to this. It's simple. All you do is wake up and go to work and be sober and be a better person than you were yesterday. That's fucking it, man. That's it. That's all it is. To gang members, you guys can do this too, and I encourage you to do that. Just because I stepped away from the gang life, I don't judge you. I respect it. I've been shot before over the gangs. I've shot 3 people in my life, and thank God I never killed anybody. I've lost friends and family getting murdered in the street for gangs. I respect it. I don't like it, I don't love it, but I respect that shit. So I respect you, and I respect the position you're in and the direction you're going in, whatever else it is. If you want to help me do all this too, as long as you're sober, let's go. Let's go. That's all I ask, is as long as you're sober and you guys can, whatever, get along. I don't care, whatever you guys do what you gotta do. And we all know the deal on that. We all know it. We check that shit at the door. We all know this. We know it. So if you guys ever want to jump in, whether it's protesting, mentoring, singing, or whatever it is. But I'm going to be speaking out against all of that for all of us, because we're not getting these programs, these groups. We're not getting mental awareness. We're not getting successful suicide prevention, successful reentry. We're not getting successful vocational skills, motivational skills, mental, you know what I mean? We're not getting none of this shit. And then we're going even further, and we're not getting rehabilitation from drugs, from gangs. There's no prevention. There's no nothing. That's why you're seeing inmates are still being killed in prison from drugs. Inmates are still stabbing each other up. Inmates are still doing all this shit. And these motherfuckers want to buy a new prison and build it for fucking millions. So here's the thing. We've been being heard so loud that the news has now released this morning that the prison is being stopped. They're going to stop it. They're not going to build it in July. This is your opportunity for all of us that are going. People are like, so are we calling off the protest? Fuck no. This is the opportunity. You're being heard. Things are happening. This is the opportunity to keep stomping on that. Not stepping on it, stomp on that shit. Because right now, they're killing inmates in the South Dakota prison system. Whether it's preventing us or obstructing us from getting those groups, those resources, medicine, they're preventing us from suicidal thoughts and tendencies with no groups, no classes, no proper psychological anything. No, they're preventing us from getting out and wanting to do better from the gangs. There's no prevention there. There's no, you know what I'm saying now? There's no mentorship. There's no nothing. So we're going to speak on all that shit, because if they can try and build a prison for fucking 525 million to 1 fucking billion, then hey, guess what? You motherfuckers can put all that into the prison you got and start buying some resources and start buying some real utilizing fucking lifestyle shit. If you really want to help individuals change their life and come back to the streets, then you will help us get these things. But you don't. You're not. In my opinion, they're all a bunch of self-interest taking motherfuckers. They want to take that money for themselves. They want to, you know what I mean, become more of a higher pay rate, become more of a, and at the same time, continue to generate money off of us. It's like a cash cow, you guys. You see it? It's extremely lucrative. If we really want to stand up to it, we really need to change our life first, and we need to protest and hit the streets. To the staff members, we're going to be speaking for them too, because there's a lot of guards and there's a lot of nurses and counselors that do try and help us. They do try and dedicate themselves. There's always a cool ass guard, man. And why is it that there's only like 1 or fucking 2? That's it. And when they come in, you're like, what up? You know what I mean? And all that. And then there's always all doogie hazards. There's always all fucking dedicated RoboCop motherfuckers. And then they disrespect you, they talk shit, they look down on you. Who wants to go to class and be humiliated on the way? Who wants to fucking say they're suicidal and be humiliated and barbarically responded to? Who wants to fucking come and say, you know what I mean? They use that humiliation tactic every time. Then they cry like a little bitch when one of us gets mad and fucking throws off on one of them. You know what I mean now? So that's why I'm saying it's all bullshit. We're going to speak out against that. And then they want to be little bitches and cry around about the guards and inmates that really want to help us and really do want to dedicate themselves to their jobs and really do want to help us to achieve a success. They push them out too. Like I said, they don't want us to be successful. We become a weapon when we do. So I encourage you guys to start trying to do that. And anyway, so I'm going to be speaking out more on all that right here. This was like my first little podcast right here. So I know it's going to be, I know at first it might be kind of slow generated. My connection might suck. But these are the things that we're going to be speaking on and speaking out against. The reason why I'm tapping into YouTube is because not everybody has Facebook. And I keep getting reported on there for a lot of the podcasts that I do. But if you guys want to follow me on there, go ahead. So I'm going to be going live on there this afternoon for Renzo Bullhead. Like I said, there's a lot of things that I do, and that's, speaking for missing, murdered indigenous people is one of them. But anyway, we're going to be protesting the prison on June 24th. We're not slowing down. We're not stopping. So I encourage you guys all to make it. I will schedule podcasts because I can schedule them onto this. So I'll schedule them. You guys will know when they're coming, so you guys can make the time. I can't miss them, so I'll for sure do them and all that stuff too. But yeah, if you guys want to get involved, reach out to me. I'll send you my phone number, and all you do is let me know what you want to get involved with, what part. But there's a lot that we are trying to tackle here, so I hope you guys are ready and prepared for it. But anyway, guys, I got to get going. I got to run around, so we'll be doing more podcasts on this. This is the first part, so we'll probably do about 2 or 3 parts for it. But anyway, I'm going to get going, guys. A lot of love and respect. I'll talk to you later. Oh, we'll talk to us. If I know how to stop it.